You are listening to the Fairways and Fundraising podcast, powered by Golf Event Planning, discussing charity fundraising and successful golf outings, along with tips and tricks of the trade. Now here's your host, Larry Battaglia.
Hello, and welcome to Fairways and Fundraising, powered by Golf Event Planning. I'm your host, Larry Battaglia. This is episode number 35. And today we are doing another Zoom podcast taping with a good friend of mine now for the last 6 years. He launched a great company. Hopefully you've heard of it. 6 years ago in 2014, the company's called BirdieBox. I just want to have a warm welcome here for Pat DePirro. How you doing, Pat?
I'm great, Larry. Thanks for having me.
Pat, you and I, like I said, we know each other now for about 6 years, and you creating this BirdieBox, seeing a need in the subscription space for great gifting, it's obviously taking you to so many different avenues and levels in your career and business. But prior to 2014, what's your background and how did you come up with this idea?
Larry, I was a corporate guy, suit and tie. I worked for Major League Baseball.
Hate that, don't you?
Man. I've been super fortunate. I worked for great organizations and big brands. Major League Baseball, it was at the time called Major League Baseball Advanced Media. They were basically a digital arm of the league. So if you look at all the individual websites of Major League Baseball, the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers, et cetera, all of that was consolidated under one arm. So Major League Baseball manages all of the individual websites, including MLB.com. That was one of my important transitional moments in my career. So I was there for a little over 5 years. We were based out of Chelsea in Manhattan, in New York City. And then I moved to Nickelodeon. Something like you, Larry, a friend, wanted me to manage and lead some of the efforts for Nickelodeon out in Chicago. And I stayed there for 6 years. And then I came back to New York. We had some family obligations. I had to take care of my dad, who was ailing at the time. So I moved back to Manhattan in Tribeca, and I worked and managed all the global and digital sales efforts for Bloomberg Business Week. So that was prior to BirdieBox. And your question of like the transition, we had, for better or worse, pretty extensive expense accounts. And part of my job was entertaining gentlemen like you and executives and trying to create memorable experiences. And I use golf often as a vehicle to entertain. So we would take clients to Pebble Beach or Kohler or Bandon Dunes. We take these amazing trips. And one of our hallmarks was, in the room, I'd have a gift for them. And it was something very personal. Or we'd go to the pro shop and I would watch our customers look at different products. And when they weren't looking, I would buy that item for them and put it in the golf cart. So I was always trying to figure out different things to engage and separate ourselves from the companies that I represented. But most of the things I thought resonated best were just a handwritten note, something that you might have said during the round, was near and dear to you. It could be about family, it could be about friends, it could be at golf. So when I wrote the note during the event with the gift or maybe after the event, people really were touched that I thought enough to write a personal note. And I remembered whatever we had spoken about, and they were excited about creating that experience. So it just made sense to me that most of the people in the golf world, they usually have the means to play. It's not an inexpensive sport. The people that attend all the outings and charities like you and Golf Event Planning do, typically they have, good intentions and they come from means. So my thought was, if I'm able to create a streamlined experience where I can provide value to them, they don't have a lot of time because they're busy executives, and bring some experience to their doorstep where they found good products, good value, and something that was very personal to them. I thought there was a market there for us. And that's how we launched at the PGA show in 2014, as you said in your open.
That's a great vision. And I tell you, nowadays, when do you get a personalized letter from somebody? Yeah. Very seldom. So you definitely had that little extra touch of class service to really care for the client. And that's really what BirdieBox is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. everything we do is exactly what you just said, Larry. Like, how do we make an impact? How do we make a difference? How do we be best in class? But not just say these words in a podcast or in a meeting, really live and breathe that every day. So from the people we bring on board to the sample gifts that we provide, any of our marketing, it's always about being thoughtful, being personal, and being transparent. And we just try to create the best possible experience within the budget parameters given to the specific client. And if we make a mistake, we honor and we acknowledge what we did wrong. And we don't just compensate whatever that mistake was and just, okay, we'll make good. We do that plus 3X. And I think nowadays with email and, obviously there's so much technology that is at our fingertips. I think we've lost that personal touch and that sort of transparent piece. And I built a whole foundation of trust and integrity and, trying to do everything first class.
So the name BirdieBox, obviously,
Yep.
golf themed, and the component, when you first started was about putting everything in a branded box.
Right.
And you have different boxes you use and, clients can get custom. But now it's transcended from just the subscription box scenario to gift suites and all these other types of gifting experiences.
Yeah. That was hard, Larry, because you put a lot of time and effort like you have, right? With golf event planning, you create brand, you create logo, you create credibility. And I like the name. And like you said, BirdieBox is inherently golf. The tagline, if you remember, used to be golf, period, life, period, style, golf lifestyle.
That's right. I do remember that.
Yeah. And it was a blue box and then we made it a white box. And I really didn't want to lose the name, and golf is still near and dear to my heart and still a big part of what we do currently. So I would challenge the team to keep the name, but change the logo, because we used to have a golf ball and a flag, and it was obviously all things golf. So what we did was, and it is a transition from golf lifestyle, we then changed our tagline to make gifting an experience. We removed any hint of a golf ball or flag. And then the word box, we just created a box with a bow as it looks like a gift box. And now we said, and this was, I don't know if it was me just not having enough sleep or just not wanting to change the name.
Business owners never get any sleep, man. Come on, man. You and I know that.
I woke up one day and I wrote on my little pad, a little birdie told me what the customer wants. That's why it's still called BirdieBox. And
interesting.
That's all I had, man.
Different take on it.
At 3 a.m, that's the best I came up with. And that was how I've told the stories ever since.
A little birdie told them.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, listen, Pat, you and I have worked together on some projects, and you do everything from all different types of brands in and out of the golf space. Let's just talk about some of the brands that you're representing.
Yeah. So to that point, Larry, golf, obviously there's so many brands, apparel and hard goods and golf balls and technology and accessory and training aids. There's so many to choose from. But most avid golfers either have these products or they live and breathe these gifts, right? Because they have the latest technology, the latest club, they're getting fitted, right? Their pro shop or wherever they shop, they have access. So what I learned was that when I started introducing new lifestyle products like technology, wellness, travel gear, accessories, we got great feedback from our customers. The other thing, frankly, there's no sizing component. Where in apparel or clubs, you need to know the degree, the shaft, right? If they're being fitted, and certain brands might fit in a medium or a large. So it also allowed us to be more flexible, bring in more inventory without having to identify the size of each of the recipients of the gift box. So some of the brands, if you look on our website, there's Apple, Bose, Corksicle, Toomey, Marc Jacobs. I mean, literally, I'm looking around, Peter Millar, Hudson Cole, Charlotte Lou, Revo, Ray-Ban, Maui Jim, JBL. I mean, I'm literally just looking around my showroom. I mean, there's endless brands that Lululemon, they're all luxury, super high-end brands. And it's really difficult to have a brand want to work with a company like us because they're so particular about their margins and their brand integrity, and they don't want to dilute what they do. So we also never publish a specific price for an item to protect that brand. And we also hold the brand in high regard. So we create a platform that allows them to showcase and merchandise what they want, how they want to be represented. So we're always being super protective. And we're incredibly proud of I think we have 300 brands that are all super luxury that we have direct accounts with for the most part.
Well, most importantly about these brands, it's about getting your logo on these items. And that's what you do in-house.
Yeah. So each brand has their own rules and sort of parameters on how they want decoration, like you're saying, the logo, whether that's embroidered or heat seal or etched or UV lasered. So we work with each brand and make sure that we're following the necessary parameters that they put forth. And what I've learned is what they really want to do, Larry, is sell the product and not worry about the branding. They want to sell 10,000 units. And they don't have to worry about logos and approvals and artwork and placement and fonts and PMS colors. Because as you know, with your clientele, they're very, very particular, and they should be, about the brand, about the logo, about all those minute details are gospel to them. So rather than burden our suppliers, which will delay the lead times and delay the delivery, we started to invest very heavily in our fulfillment center capabilities and the equipment needed to do that level of logo decoration. So we have, over a dozen really expensive machines, UV laser machines, etching machines. We also have many head embroidery machines. So pretty much regardless of the surface of the product, whether it's apparel and it's cotton or nylon, or if it's bamboo wood or stainless steel or copper or plastic or silicone, we could apply a logo in real time without burdening the client with long lead times, setup costs and art fees, or large minimum order quantities. And we could hyper personalize each one.
And something you pride yourself on, it's all about one phone call.
Yep.
And that's what it's all about, is you're making the gifting experience a unique and special experience, but also for the organizer, whether it be an event planner or head of human resources, whoever is tasked to handle this responsibility, they know they can call a one-stop shop.
Yep.
And everything is taken care of for them. Delivery, branding, the personalized letter that we talked about that you guys pride yourself on. There's no other company out there like yours.
That's kind of you. I'd like to believe that. I'm sure.
I think as entrepreneurs, we believe that in our own vision of our own
I drink
business.
a lot of my own Kool-Aid. I have gallons and gallons of Kool-Aid that I drink. So yes.
And you have to, you have to be confident in what you're doing and what you're offering. Otherwise, if you're not, you're second guessing.
Yeah.
You're out of business, especially in these times. Speaking of these times with COVID,
yeah.
How have you had to adjust? You have these websites now and these gifting experiences online. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I think, all of us have been impacted personally, professionally with COVID-19. First couple of weeks when it came out in March, which makes a lot of sense. A lot of clients canceled or postponed really sizable orders. So I took a moment, sort of try to digest and not knee-jerk react, Larry, and just say, okay, what role does BirdieBox have where we could, if we're a gifting company and we are really about the customer and creating experiences, and gifting, as they usually say, is better to give than receive, what could we do to help our customers during these tough times, while obviously having to communicate to staff that, certain changes or concessions will need to be made on their payroll, on commission checks, on different investments that we had on the horizon. So we came up with a COVID-19 care package program, another 2 a.m. moment, where, and I know some people probably thought I was losing my mind at this point. We had a certain amount of inventory, Larry. So I took, let's say roughly retail, about $250,000 of inventory. And I empowered the sales team to talk to our best customers and some of our potential prospects that we had in our pipeline that we thought were going to come on board, but because of COVID may have slowed or halted that decision-making process. And I said, let's just come without asking anything in return. I don't want any sort of ask of reciprocity. And let's offer and give gifts out to those in need. They can gift either their employees, their customers, their VIPs, suppliers. They want to donate the gifts. We are here to help and service that. So we did a pretty broad marketing plan where we emailed, I'd imagine, I don't have the exact number, Larry, but north of 10,000 folks just saying, here, we're here to help. Some of them could not believe, they thought this was like a timeshare moment where it's like, okay, what's the catch? And I said, no, we literally are coming to help. And the Charlotte Hornets and several other clients were so taken back by this. And we provided gifts for a lot of folks that they would contact other potential clients they thought were good for BirdieBox and say, just want to tell you about this company that we work with and how they operate. I'd love for you to talk to them. So the president of the Charlotte Hornets called the president of the Cavaliers, the Golden State Warriors, and I got inbound calls from several executives across the NBA. Unheard of. I went to Frito-Lay. Frito-Lay said, I want to donate these gifts to people that I also think could help you, BirdieBox. We secured our single largest digital gift portal. You mentioned those online websites from that care package gift. Lagadier Sports represents amazing athletes. They're a sports talent agency, Larry. Christian McCaffrey, Ponce, the center, Khalil Mack, the linebacker, and they provided gifts to some of their athletes. So we made such inroads and created such goodwill giving away products. And that what turned out to be an investment actually became a revenue stream. So we were able to come out of that really strong. And then the websites were being created 2 years ago because there was a need in the market. And as you know, with events, not everyone comes exactly on time, or maybe there's a last minute cancellation, or the person lives out of state. So the website was built just like your amazing software with golf event planning, remote access to a suite of products or gifts where they can handpick, 2 or 3 items, and then we can personalize them through the website and then drop ship those gifts to the client, consolidated in a beautiful gift box after the event. So we were already investing there. So when COVID hit, the need for that service, because you can't have people with crowds, they wanted a touchless system and software, that became a must-have versus a nice-to-have. So the combination of the COVID care package and the need for a one-stop solution, and you also remember early on with COVID, only essential businesses were able to operate. We were very fortunate that our fulfillment center was labeled an essential business. So we had limited interruption. And sometimes you get a little lucky, you work hard, you have the right intentions, and you put that in like, sort of the recipe, and you come out of it. And, we were fortunate that as bad as COVID was, we've actually had our best year ever, and we've hired more people. Our staff all took a 50% pay cut. One woman in particular, just to have a feel-good moment, was on maternity leave. And she's like, I don't need the income. Give it to another employee. She happened to be a single moms, and, take care of her. So we've just got a great team. We've been really fortunate, client-wise, staff-wise, partners like you, and, it's turned out to be okay.
Let's talk about our advertiser. I usually record and edit this podcast in my home office. And when I work, I need to get in the zone. For me, I feel more productive when I wear a collared shirt, but you're crazy if you think I'm going to put on a heavy cotton button-down shirt. I need to be comfortable if I'm working for a long period of time. Recently, through a friend of mine, I got connected to this new brand called Tillinger. They make my new favorite polo shirt. It's soft, breathable, and uses higher quality performance fabric, so I'm more comfortable. Work in it, golf in it, play in it, anything you want. No logo either, so you don't look like you just got off the golf course. Right now, they're donating 10% of every purchase to COVID-19 relief. I can't recommend them enough. Their website is shoptillinger.com. That's shop, TILLINGER.com. Check them out. So we're talking again with Pat DePirro from BirdieBox, the CEO, founder, and creator of BirdieBox. The website is birdiebox.com, and you can find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at BirdieBox. So Pat, let's talk about some of these big clients that you have. You deal with basic golf outings like the ones that we do, but you're also involved with different sections of the PGA. some of these major sports teams, and you're also doing gifting for the match coming up in November.
That's right.
We are in November,
Yeah.
but coming up by Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So we have, let's say, somewhere between 800 and 1,000 clients. Of those clients, they're into 3 segments. The golf side, Larry, which is near and dear to me. So it could be the charity outings or charities or the actual golf clubs, whether that's on the green grass side or a resort side. And we work member guests, outings, new member gifts, renewal, holiday, anything within the green grass golf world. We deal with the PGA, LPGA, Champions and Corn Ferry tours. We do a lot of pro-am gift experiences, really almost like a pop-up store, Larry, but rather than have one brand, like say Neiman Marcus or Nordstrom and the Apple store or Best Buy and your pro shop all got together and said, how do we create the best experience? We try to take the best in breed and then create a, really wonderful, eclectic, curated gift selection of all these different brands across all these segments. We have north of 100 enterprise clients on the corporate side. So Delta Airlines, Pepsi, I mentioned, Frito-Lay, DR Horton, Morgan Stanley, Northwestern Mutual, like on and on and on. And then on the sports side, over 80 different properties, MLB, MLS, NBA, NFL, NHL, et cetera. We work with all of them. And the match actually came to us, the first one, if you remember, in Vegas, right?
I remember you did some gifting for that.
We did some gifting there. We worked with a great company, Excel Sports Management. And then they hired us earlier this year again, back to that, having a website or having that drop shipping capabilities. And we did a beautiful gift box with, it was Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Phil, and Tiger, where we actually put a picture of them on the box itself. When they opened the box, they got a video with some of those highlights and funny moments that happened during the match, like when Tom Brady holed out that 7-iron and Barkley and those were riding him. And now we're doing the match again, with Barkley and team coming up in a few weeks. So we've got, like I said, we've been very blessed. Our clients are very loyal. And, we've been expanding all those different verticals, the golf side, the sports side, and then the enterprise clients in corporate America.
Long list of clients, an array of companies that you do across the nation. And that says a lot to your team. And I know you have a phenomenal team. Let's talk about them.
It all starts and ends with that, right, Larry? As you know, it's all about.
We can't all do it ourselves, and we're only as good as the people we surround ourselves with.
1,000%. And I'm a pretty flawed guy, so when you have a lot of flaws, you have to sort of fix your blind spots.
Yeah, I always say, it's great to be confident in what you're good at, but it's also good to know your limitations.
Yeah, you have to know you can't do it all, you don't know it all, and you have to be vulnerable and honest with yourself and others. And people appreciate that. So
your clients do, and so do your team. No doubt.
1,000%. People know when you're, blowing smoke, and they know when you're being authentic and honest, right? You think you're being suave and smooth, but people are intelligent, they're well-informed, and they know when you're being a straight shooter. So for all the flaws that I possess, the one thing I feel tremendous pride on is I hire great people. When I say I, not me personally, the team, and I'm a straight shooter. For good or bad, if I make a mistake, I own up to it, and I never deflect blame. And usually the mistake lies on my shoulders because clearly I'm steering the ship. So the team itself, we have somewhere between 23 and 25 full-time staff. They're located Dallas, Texas is a hub, in Frisco, Texas. We have our second showroom that we solidified with the Dallas Cowboys, our headquarters at the Star District in Frisco. We have obviously our fulfillment team here in Miami, in a town called Medley. We have Boston in New England. We have our ops and merch team based there. And then we have salespeople across the country. So between the full-time staff and then either independent contractors or part-time, roughly around 33 to 35 team members. And obviously there's seasonality that will bring on additional staff as needed. And then to manage all the events on site in different cities, our head of events, this woman who's tremendous talent, Perla Peralta, she managed all of Walmart's gifting for an agency. So she did 2,200 grassroots events for Walmart on site. So she has contacts and people all over the country. So if there's an event in Iowa, Nebraska, Texas, New York, New Hampshire, she already has relationships with people that could be on site and actually man the booth and manage that experience, which is, again, that's above and beyond the 33 to 35 members I mentioned earlier.
So you just said something that kind of resonated with me, and you and I worked on an event, golf event planning and BirdieBox. I guess it's going on maybe 5 years now. And you did this gift suite that we were just recently just touching on. But basically when golfers would get to the event, and this is something that we love to provide that incredible experience through incredible partners like yourself, is golfers get to choose what they want instead of the client predetermining that they want maybe an old cotton shirt or they want that, oh, here's a tee pack and a sleeve of balls. Go ahead and play golf. No, they're getting there, and the first impression is they're walking through the BirdieBox gift experience.
That's right. Well, it starts with the registration where you're at, because you make registration, right, easy and seamless and pain-free. And what's the first, they're going to maybe grab breakfast.
And a Bloody Mary.
And a Bloody or two. That's actually one of my favorites. And my thought was, just like you said, these golfers and these volunteers, they either have access to everything or they usually get a sleeve of golf balls, a polo, a towel, a head cover. And those are good gifts.
It's the same stuff, right? Nothing exciting.
We've collected hundreds of thousands of data points, feedback. They don't want another item that they already had, a similar item at the prior event, or they already have access to. They want to be able to choose, like you said, and select different items. And not only for themselves, Larry, oftentimes for their guests, their spouse, their children or grandchildren. So they may take something for them and they go home to be the hero instead of drinking 5 Bloody Marys with their buddies, and then they go home empty-handed. So we have a section within that gift suite which we refer to, because obviously a lot of these outings that we talk about are, predominantly male. We have a don't forget her station. Why? Because men forget her, right? So this is like a little nod and reminder. One, items for the women participating, which is clearly an underserved market. And then 2, for even the men that are participating, you could use some of that gift card or gift budget allowance at the gift suite to bring something for her. And everyone loves it. They love the name, right? And typically that's the second most popular area within the gift suite, with the first being technology, because we all live on our mobile phones or mobile devices. It has the highest perceived value. Technology is always, innovating. So people want the latest and greatest gadget. And like you said, what do they usually give? Bowls, a towel, and a hat. Instead of technology, don't forget her, wellness, lifestyle, all these amazing brands out there, amazing products. But golfers tend to be a little bit, I know they're nostalgic and historical, but they're a little stubborn in change in terms of how it's always been done that way. So they just want to continue to do that. And as you learned with your disruptive software, we can leverage technology to create a better experience for the guest. And that's what this is all about, creating a better experience for that guest.
That's right. Makes them come back and makes them talk about your event, support the cause, puts people in a good mood. You're in a good mood, you spend money.
True.
And they're going to spend money on raffles, auction, you name it, to help the organization out, at least from a golf outing perspective. And that's certainly my field. That's usually where I'm leaning towards, in these conversations. But they're working on a budget, and that. So you have a wide range of price points for clients, whether they're not-for-profit organizations working on a budget to the higher-end corporate clients that are looking to wow their guests.
Yeah, so to that point, Larry, everything we do with the customer in mind is like a blank canvas. So we'd reverse engineer what the gift would be based on the budgets and needs of that customer. So in your world with a lot of charities, and I understand we want to maximize the amount of money that's being raised for that charity and that cause. So 2 things. 1, we, as you know, we're very flexible in terms of how we create these different gift packages or experiences to meet any budget. It could be $20 or $2,000 per person. I also donate, as you know, either gifts or prizes for the tournament. And depending on where it is, I may even buy a foursome or a spot or donate. So we have an American Cancer Society event that's here down by me in Miami at the Biltmore on Friday. My mom recently passed, I mentioned to you, over the summer, and I wanted to sort of acknowledge that and celebrate her life. So we spent $4,000. I donated for a foursome. My mom's picture will be on the tee markers of one of the holes. And then I also donated gifts to the 80 plus golfers and the boxes and the packages. So, it's probably a $7,000, $8,000 contribution. So not only do we service these charities, but we're also looking to help them. And, not every charity, I wish I was Nike or Adidas or Apple where I could just give and give and give. But we are very thoughtful and selective in aligning with other charitable organizations where we can make an impact. We want to contribute or at least do some good to help them in their cause. And having those people, like you said, Larry, coming back again, whether it's auction, raising money, participating in these different events. So we play a small role in hopefully elevating the experience and providing additional value outside of the gifts by helping with some of the donations.
BirdieBox, making an impact while giving back. Again, we're talking with Pat DePirro, CEO, founder, and creator of BirdieBox. The website is birdiebox.com, and you can follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at BirdieBox. So, Pat, as we start to wrap up this session, you mentioned some golf courses earlier on in the discussion before you got involved with BirdieBox. You're a busy guy. You mentioned some great golf courses. Do you play golf lately? I mean, I know it's tough running a business, like you do. Maybe you did back then. I find like I'm that close to the golf course. I watch other people play though. I really don't get a chance to get out too much.
I know it's right. And I know you're a professional golfer, right? You're a PGA professional, and I'm not at your level.
Former life.
But I love golf. It's one of my true passions.
Because you mentioned some golf courses I would just absolutely kill to get on.
Yeah, so as you know, we're very fortunate, and I do play some golf. It usually comes in waves, but I've been fortunate enough to play the Wingfoots of the world. I've played some tremendous private clubs all over the country that you sort of pinch yourself, Larry, when you're out there. I've never played Augusta, but I've been to the Masters. I've been to Berkman's Place and had that amazing experience. And Sand Valley, Cole, like we mentioned, we've been blessed. I do not play. I probably play 15 to 20 rounds a year. I got a couple of guys trips, but as it relates to business, I might play with some of the PGA of America section folks. I more do it for business than I do a true enjoyment.
How about this Friday?
Yeah, I'm really just supporting American Cancer Society. So, like, for example, who am I taking? A friend from Deutsche Bank, right? A PGA South Florida section, assistant executive director, and another colleague. So I'll probably be more concerned with how the event's going. Did everyone love their gifts? We have one of our tents on one of the holes. My mind won't even really be about golf. I'll be watching everything else, asking for feedback, right? But it's fun and I love it. And, we've been very fortunate. We're doing Valspar Championship this year. We did 3M Open. I've done AT&T, Byron Nelson, Rocket Mortgage. Obviously in Hilton Head, you have RBC Heritage. And I've been able to play some of those courses in the Pro-Am. As you know, I've played with celebrities and athletes, and you sort of pinch yourself, when you're playing with Ray Allen or you and Shane Battier are doing the par 3 event when we did that down in Miami at Deering Bay. So it's amazing. But like you said, we're very close to the course, but we usually don't get to play it.
That's definitely an understatement.
Yeah.
Now, the holidays are coming up.
Yes.
And you guys do a lot of business during the holidays with online gifting and personalized gift boxes. Again, you can follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at BirdieBox, and the website is birdiebox.com. Pat, I want you to talk about how we can get our listeners to do some type of great gift for the holidays.
Sure. And I always start with this. Like, I want to make sure we're adding value, Larry. So some of these folks may have a gift picked out, or they may have another partner or supplier. So that's okay. We don't need to force fit BirdieBox. We can see, can we take some of their items they've already received and help them with the packaging or the delivery? Or can we just do everything from A to Z? We have a couple of areas that would help. If you go to BirdieBox.com, you'll see under products, you'll see an array of featured products, and then each category, drinkware, technology, travel, golf, there's an array of different items, Larry. But honestly, that's just a small sample size of what we can do. So any of your listeners can go in, contact our sales team under Contact Us or info@BirdieBox, and we're happy to, basically what we call as a needs analysis, understand the needs of the listener, of your listener, of what the budget is, how many gifts, what's the in-hand date, and then create something very personal to them. We've also created 2 websites, one of which I'll mention here. If you go to VIPgiftexperience.com, that is for the golf community, which I know is your mainstay. And what that acts is, if Amazon basically hand-selected, let's say a couple of hundred different individual gifts or gift packages, and then you're able to buy a gift card for that website, VIPgiftexperience.com, and then literally pick and choose and personalize each gift without talking to anyone. We're happy to help you, but through the website, you can pick out different gifts without any budget, put initials or a logo or whatever logo or decoration you want. We'll drop ship those gifts to all of the recipients that you need. And that really is service for the PGA professional, golf club, event planners like yourself, or people who own businesses like yourself, I should say. And that was for a need in the market to create Amazon as it relates to corporate gifting on steroids, but do it on a more personal way.
VIPgiftexperience.com. Sounds great. Definitely have to go check that out. I think I'm going to go check that out for a few things that I might need for the holidays for some special people. Pat, as we transition out of COVID-19 here, hopefully come 2021, as we're only 2 months left in 2020, we're going to be doing a lot of work together. I have a good feeling about it. I think that the fundraising has to continue. These charities really are going to be looking to do some special things to really attract their donors and get out there, because they've been dark for so long now.
Agreed. And golf is a wonderful way, right? Inherently, there's social distancing built in. So what's better than raising money for a great cause, getting some exercise, having a great time, and giving back, and playing golf like you and I love to do. So I agree that I'm very hopeful and optimistic 2021 is a banner year for everyone.
Again, we've been talking with Pat DePirro, founder, CEO, and creator of BirdieBox. The website is BirdieBox.com. Again, you can follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at BirdieBox. Pat, thanks very much for your time today. It's been great talking to you and giving our listeners a little look inside what BirdieBox is and what they're about and what their mission stands for.
Well, I really appreciate the time, Larry. You've been a good partner and friend over the years, and I appreciate you having me on the podcast.
We're going to continue to build this relationship that we've been working on for 6 years now. Again, inception was 2014. They've grown nationwide. Check them out, BirdieBox.com. Thanks again, Pat.
Thank you, Larry.
Ciao, ciao for now.
Thank you for listening to the Fairways in Fundraising podcast, powered by Golf Event Planning. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and please remember to subscribe, rate, and review.